Hello guys, welcome to Sunday Speculations episode 4 with Arpan. I'm sorry that there were no Sunday Speculations the previous Sunday because of my exams and I was busy with other stuff and uh, even in the for some Sundays for some upcoming Sundays the episodes might get cancelled because of course I have exams coming up and I have stuff to do. But yeah, I'll try to upload a video every Sunday positively. And so anyway, today's okay, just a second. So this is all about Sunday speculations. By now you all know what is Sunday speculations. So I'll just skip this. Now today's question. What is today's question? Today we'll discuss an interesting question about which I bet you have thought at some point of time. Do aliens exist? Now before we start, let me remind you that I have very little knowledge about extraterrestrial intelligence and I'll just inform you about the possibilities today. I'll just inform you about the possibilities, like what are the different possibilities, and you are to decide whether or not to believe in aliens. Like if you ask me whether I personally believe in aliens, I would say that I have not formed any opinion yet because we don't have enough data. Like if you don't have enough data to figure out, then it's pointless. It doesn't matter whether you believe in alien or she believes in alien or he believes in alien. It doesn't matter, right? So whether I believe in alien doesn't matter. I'll just from a general point of view, I'll just tell you the arguments. That's all. And one more time, let me remind you that although I have some knowledge about physics in general, but this aliens and extraterrestrial intelligence, this is something about which I have zero knowledge. Very little knowledge I've written here, but actually it's zero knowledge, not even little. I have zero knowledge. So, so yeah, I just in the previous episodes of Sunday Speculations, there were some inputs from my side. Like all those topics I have researched deeply and given some inputs from my side. But today's is just a summary. It's nothing new from my side because as I've already said, I have zero knowledge about this topic. But anyway, let's start. An important thing that's often overlooked. Whenever we talk about aliens, we must keep in mind that we should first define life or consciousness before deciding whether aliens are likely to exist or not. I've already discussed about consciousness in a lot of previous videos, so I will not go into it here. Now, first you have to be sure that what is our question. Is the question that is there life on other planets, or is there life as intelligent as human life on other planets, or perhaps more intelligent than human life on other planets? Because these two questions mean entirely different things, right? Now, can any form of life evolve to be as intelligent as us over a long period of time, or is there something special about human consciousness? That is also something we need to address. So I know I've made it all the more confusing, but if you want to seriously explore the question of extraterrestrial intelligence, you must consider all of these questions. Are we the only ones? Carl Sagan once said, the universe is a pretty big place. If it's just us, it seems like an awful waste of space. Actually, this perspective is misleading because space wasn't created to host life. There is no purpose to anything. It just happens spontaneously. This was the topic of Sunday Speculations episode 2. That was like as my friends tell me, that was one of the best Sunday Speculations episodes. So you can watch it if you have not already done so. So anyway, there is no purpose to anything. It just happens spontaneously. So space wasn't created to host life. So you can't say it seems like an awful waste of space because space wasn't created for this purpose. So how can you say it's a waste of space? Space just is. So I just included this Carl Sagan quote just to make things more interesting because Carl Sagan was a great man and quotes like this grow interest in the subject, right? They make you more interested in the subject. It's a great quote nevertheless, but this is a bit misleading if you want to take it literally, if you want to take it seriously. Now, is Earth the only planet with life in this universe? The answer can be yes or no. There are too many planets out there, and in one of them, life may emerge. Of course, the answer can be yes or no. You don't need me to figure that out. Any question's answer can be yes or no. So anyway, there are too many planets out there, and in one of them, life may emerge. Of course, life would likely evolve differently on such planets because it's foolish to assume that suppose there are so many planets, so many star systems, and in Earth, life has evolved. Suppose in some different planet B, life has also evolved. Now, it would be foolish to assume that life will evolve in planet B in exactly the same way as life has evolved on Earth because there are some evolutionary accidents, there are some environmental factors, there are some external factors at work. So everything will not be same for that planet and Earth. So life will not be same in that planet and Earth. Life forms will be different. Life will be different. So life will evolve differently. Of course, it's foolish to assume that planet will also have humans with two hands, two legs, and one head, or something like most. Whenever we picture aliens, we see that we picture them like they have two eyes and 2 ears and two hands. So it's not at all necessary like that, right? Because they can be entirely different, and evolution will work differently on such a planet. And Or maybe you can also argue that maybe evolution, like ultimately all species will tend to converge, just like a sequence converges in mathematics. So all species will tend to converge to some particular design. So after a long period of time, after the very long period of time, maybe the if provided we survive that long, maybe the species of all the planets will tend to look alike, because evolution is will try to will that can also be a case. You can argue, like, we don't know. It just came to my mind right now. That's why you see I've not written it in the slide, but it just came to my mind right now. So you can also argue that. Now I'm not an expert, so of course I don't know whether my argument is valid or not. But yeah, that's it. But in the end, what I think is that it's arrogant to think we are alone are conscious in this universe just because aliens haven't come to greet us yet. Of course, there are so many planets, and pure statistics is actually misleading in this case because we don't have actually enough data. But pure intuition will tell you that it's arrogant to think we're alone are conscious. We alone are conscious in this universe because there are too many planets out there, and life, no matter how rare, how uncommon, life may evolve in one or two of them. Not one or two actually, in some of them. So many planets, yet no sign of aliens. Why? Now, if you accept my argument and say that okay, so aliens exist, then where are the aliens? Why we haven't seen any aliens yet? See, on one hand, there is the question that there are so many stars and planets in the universe, life must evolve in some of them, right? On the other hand, the universe is quite old. So if intelligent life existed elsewhere, by now they should have evolved a lot and sent space probes and stuff, and there would be signs of their existence in space. Like we have sent space probes and stuff, so they should also have sent space probes and stuff, and there should be signs of their existence in space. However, we have no such evidence. So far, we have got no such evidence. Now, a possible explanation is that most planets have perturbed orbits, and even if life evolves in such a planet, it would be extremely difficult for the creatures of the planet to discover universal law of gravitation and laws of planetary motion. Like in the case of Earth, the orbit is not perturbed. The orbit is stable, and there is some amount of regularity and uniformity. That's why Newton could deduce his law of gravitation, which is no longer accurate, but it worked. It explained the motion of the Earth and the Moon. Mercury, in the case of Mercury, it failed because the Mercury orbit of Mercury is not it's a bit perturbed. It's called precession of Mercury. For that, we needed Einstein's general relativity, and that came a lot of years after Newton, right? So, but most planets will have perturbed orbits because that's the general case. Because exceptions do exist. Like for instance, some planets will have very stable orbits, very circular orbits, not like elliptical orbits, which are very stable. And in those planets, if life exists, life evolves, then the creatures can easily deduce the law of gravitation and laws of planetary motion. But most planets have perturbed orbits, and even if life evolves in such a planet, it would be extremely difficult for the creatures of the planet to discover universal law of gravitation. I'm not saying impossible, but extremely difficult. So they wouldn't be able to create rockets for space travel, and so we would never hear from them. Like all these rockets and everything, they're all based on Newton's laws. Now, however, there is one question which is important here: whether life can evolve in the first place in such planets with perturbed orbits is a question I cannot answer, but a question that needs to be answered nevertheless if we are to get to the bottom of this alien saga. So, if life first of all, we have to figure out whether life can evolve in such a perturbed orbits. If yes, only then our argument will be valid. That since the orbit is perturbed, the aliens have not yet figured out any universal law of gravitation, and that's why they have not been able to build any rockets or stuff, and that's why we have not heard from them yet. So this is one possible explanation that why we have not heard from aliens yet. There are also other explanations. So are they gone or are they just keeping quiet? Now some people suggest that something will tend to wipe out intelligent life from planets before they have the chance to communicate with other civilizations. So it's like, see, science experiments gone wrong, nuclear wars, all these things. Like the more we advance technologically, the more a civilization grows. Maybe, just maybe, the chance of it becoming extinct also grows. See, there is always some possibility that it will become extinct because of some natural disaster like some meteorite strike or something else like gamma ray bursts and everything. Then the more you are advancing, the more dangerous your technology is becoming. So the more deadly your technology is becoming. So like nuclear wars or like science experiments gone wrong, when you tamper with nature's deepest secrets, results can be devastating. So some people say that something will tend to wipe out intelligent life from planets. So even if there were aliens in other planets, they are gone by now. Like they got extinct before they got the chance to communicate with us, and that's why we have never heard from them. Another explanation why aliens have kept quiet, and I think this explanation is the second one is a very good one. I personally like this explanation. So why aliens have kept quiet is this: a forest is silent in the night, although there are a lot of animals there. Like usually a forest is silent in the night, right? So why? It's not because there are no animals in the forest. It's because they remain silent so that their predators cannot locate them and so they survive. So aliens may remain silent for the same reason, and maybe we should remain silent as well, right? See, what I'm trying to say is that a forest is silent in the night, although there are a lot of animals there. They remain silent so that their predators cannot locate them. So the aliens, there are aliens, but they remain silent. They are intentionally not sending out stuff in space. They're intentionally not handing out evidences of their existence to us because they don't know about us. They don't know whether we are more dangerous than them or less dangerous than them, and it's unwise. So until and unless you know the enemy, it's unwise to let the enemy know that you exist, right? So just for their sake, maybe they're keeping quiet. So they're just for the sake they're keeping quiet, but it doesn't mean that they don't exist. I hope you got the hang of this argument. Okay, we might still be special. Now this is something which I've already discussed in some of my previous videos, but I'll just go through it once more in very short. Yeah, just a second. All right. So please know that it might also be possible that life is an exceedingly rare feature of the universe. As I have already discussed in a previous video, the fundamental constants of a universe, the properties of the fundamental particles, seem strange because any slight change in one or more of them wouldn't allow life to evolve in the universe. Do you remember that dialogue, Sheldon Cooper or something? I like. Did you know that if gravity was slightly less powerful or slightly more powerful, that one? So it's a pretty famous one. So I think you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, any slight change in the properties of the fundamental particles or the fundamental constants of the universe wouldn't, for instance, allow stable atoms to form or stars and galaxies to form, and life, of course, could not evolve in such a universe. So doesn't it seem unlikely that these constants have exactly the values required for life to evolve? Does this mean some god has intentionally set these constants to these values so that life can evolve? That is one way to look at the situation, sure. But I don't think this is the correct answer, because keep in mind that if you choose to believe in God, why would God want to follow the laws of physics? Why would he have to set the constants to these particular values? Why can't he just set the constants to any value he likes and make life possible under those conditions? That's a serious problem with this argument. Because see, if you say that even God is not about physics, then what's the point of believing in God? Then let's just do physics, right? And if you say God is about physics, then why did God have to follow the laws of physics, right? So there's a contradiction. What is the alternative? What is the other way of explaining this fine tuning, as it's normally called, the fine tuning of these fundamental constants? The other way is to assume that there are infinitely many universes, the multiverse theory, and these constants have different values in the other universes where life doesn't exist. The constants of one universe among all these universes will surely have these values, and since we exist in that one universe, it seems so unlikely and marvelous and amazing to us. So I personally prefer the second argument. However, as I have told you many times previously also on this channel or on my book or whatever, both these arguments are unscientific. Why? Precisely because we have no data and we have no statistical data to scientifically say that the universe with the constants which have these particular values is unlikely. We're saying that the universe with the constants which have these particular values is unlikely, but on what basis can we say it's unlikely? We have no statistics. See, statistics can be misleading to start with, and we have no statistical data. We do not have enough data to say that it's unlikely, right? So even if we say so, our statement would not be valid statistically. So that's it. It's not a scientific valid argument. So that's all, guys, for this video. I just gave you a basic overview about aliens, but there is a lot more to discover, and I know that some of you are fascinated with this topic, so you can explore more. So thanks for watching, guys. See you again next Sunday. Let me know your crazy alien theories in the comments below, and please do like, share, and subscribe. Thanks a million, guys. Thank you.